Hey yo, what's up, guys? This is Jin, and welcome back to Icebreaker Gospel Tea House. And we haven't uploaded anything for a while because I was super busy, and I work for an airline. So, and also my friend Wesley is also busy. He was busy on um, some big event in his life. So. Uh, but I do have something want to share. I really want to share with you guys. I just came back from Hawaii, from Kona, and I have a local friend whose name is Joe in Hawaii, and I met him the first time I went to Kona by myself, and I went to the Volcano National Park, and I met him and his fiance. And this time I went there, I was like, "Hey Joe, are you busy? If you're not busy, then hey, let's hang out." And then we did paddleboarding, and we did snorkel, and we also did scuba diving. And the most important thing is I went to his church. His church name is Kohala Baptist Church. It's amazing, beautiful, small church. I have some picture of that church, and I think I will post it on our YouTube channel soon. And in his church, I spoke with Yumi, which is the pastor's wife, and the pastor Stephen. But I didn't speak with Stephen for too long. I spoke with Yumi for a while about some theology questions and opinions, ideas. It was very inspiring because Kohala Baptist Church is located in a small town in Kona, name is Hawaii. And this small town is, beautiful and it's not a really a tourism area. Not really, but I mean there are still lots of tourists go there. Um, and everybody knows everybody basically. It's a small town, but the vibe is more like Hawaiian. Uh, and the avocado is so big, it's huge. So I hang out with Joe for like 3 days. I was thinking of go to Kauai, but I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I should spend more time in Kona because um, Joe was doing something for his community. Uh, so, for example, like Joe will go to a house and pick up lots of avocado. And the last day when I was in Kona, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Costco and pick up some donation from Costco." And I didn't know that Costco actually make donation in Kona. In Arizona, I'm not sure, but I spoke with uh, my church friend. I said, "Hey, maybe we should also go to the Costco's in Hawaii to see to see if they have donation, and then we can share it with people." Uh, so Joe had lots of water and lots of avocado, the huge one, the really big one, in his trunk. And he said, "Hey, Jin, just jump in my car and let's go to the beach." And we went to the beach, and Joe started giving the avocados and water to homeless people, and he was holding the avocado, I was holding the water, um, and we talk with people, just small chat, just small talk. But I was really surprised because from the place that we give out avocado and water, that place is about 45, or I will say 59 minutes away from Hawaii, which is from his town. But he knows stories of every every homeless person, uh, and he told me, this is you know some guy, and his name, um, and what is he working on right now in his life, and try to get up on his feet, right? You don't really see this in Arizona. I mean, we live in a big city, right? Um, but I mean, Kona is also not a small island, but he knows people. He knows people's story. Like he knows what people needs, which is amazing. And before I left Kona, I was like, hey, I think this is God's plan that want me to stay in Kona. Um, do something with Joe, and that's really inspiring because for now, our church charity group in Phoenix really needs some ideas like how to serve the community. How to do our jobs better. Yeah, so he knows people, and I was like, if I'm homeless, then what do I need? I mean, food, water, um, some blanket, for sure, right? Um, but the thing that I need the most is I need to know that there are people care about me, right? If no matter if that person is a believer or not a believer, like it doesn't matter. Um, and what Joe did is actually what homeless brothers sisters need, which is it really touched me, you know. Um, and before I left Kona on that day, before I went to, no, sorry, before I left Hawaii on that way, on that day, and I was heading to the Kona airport. I told Joe, I said, "Hey, Joe, I have 2 blankets here. Maybe you will need it because Joe also went through something in his life." I said, "Maybe you will need it." And Joe said, "Hey, if you see somebody who need it more than me, just give it to them." And I was like, "Well, yeah, of course, right?" And no matter what, Joe has place to stay, and he has place to cook food for himself. If I see a homeless guy, I will give it to them. Um, but I didn't really think that, hey, I can meet a homeless guy in Hawaii because it's a tourism area. Um, but like always, like God has a plan, and at the beginning we didn't know that, right? We didn't know that before that happened. And I went to Costco. I was like, I need to get some gas before I return my rental car. And I saw a guy on the side of the road. I was like, oh, you know what? And Joe said, hey, if you see somebody needing more than me, give it to them. So I pull over on the side of the road, and I said, hey, brother, do you need two blanket? I said, it's not like fancy blanket, but I think you may gonna use it, in the nighttime, Kona is a little bit cold, so I gave him 2 blanket, and also I had a sandwich I bought that morning. Yeah, I think I bought that morning, and I couldn't finish it. I said, hey, here's a sandwich. So basically, that's like the inspiring story in Kona. Um, but the thing is, like, I think I learned something from Joe and his church. Like when I just went to Kona the first day, Joe told me, "Hey, Jin, come to our church," and he sent me the location, and I drove to his church, and everybody was having a lunch in the churchyard, and I forgot if I spoke with Stephen at first. Well, yeah, I mean Stephen the pastor. But I forgot who. But there was a brother, like, tell me something about. Well, he told me something about the history of the church, and there's a graveyard in that church, and he told me, hey, you see those tombstones. Those are Chinese people who came to Hawaii from 100 years ago. And I look at a tombstone, like I could understand every single word on a tombstone. It's a piece of history. But that kind of connection, that kind of connection and the communication that they have at Kohala Baptist Church is amazing. And I'm not saying this because of Joe is my friend. It's just because it's a small church and people, not many people go there, probably 30, 40 people, I think. It really make you feel like it's a much more closer community. But that is exactly the weakness that we have in the church of a big city, right? Phoenix is the fifth biggest city in the United States. So, but meanwhile, in my church, we really value mentorship, right? Just like what the Bible said, brothers are like two swords, sharpening each other, right? And that kind of feeling is amazing. Like when people have communication, and there's another brother in his church. Name is also Joe, and he shared his journey with me, and he said, this is what happened when I was young. And here is my journey, and here is how I see God's plan in my life. I was like, wow, that is amazing. But I'm not saying like big church or bigger church in big city is not doing a good job. I'm just throwing it out there. Like we need to communicate with each other more often. Share things. And if you see a brother and sisters like don't really talk that much, go there and talk with them. See, hey, like what happened in your life recently, right? And anything exciting, or do you need something, right? Or do you know somebody who needs help? If you need something, let me know. And it's not like you're promising anything, right? So for example, like my church brother, sometime he needs like a medical transportation, and I will be like, hey, let me know anytime when you need it. But it's also not guaranteed. So for example, if I got something on my schedule and I cannot and I cannot cancel it, then I would be like, hey, I'm sorry brother, but today I cannot really give you a ride, but I would try to find another solution, right? Yeah, but the communication is always good. Like you make brother and sisters feel like, hey, we're in a family, right? We take care of each other. And if I have a neighbor need to be taken care of, and if I cannot do all the job, I can call my brother, say, hey brother, can you help me to help my friend, to help my neighbor? Which is, I think that is how church supposed to be. And when I was in Hawaii, like let's talk about something else. Like in Hawaii, Joe went to a female elder's house. I forgot her name because Hawaiian name is, well, sometimes it's kind of difficult to me. But she used the traditional Asian medicine to do massage, and to help on the body's pain, something like that. And she asked me about China. Hey Jin, like you're Chinese, so tell me something about China. And it made me think lots of things, like when she asked that question, like how do I describe China to her? But it reminded me of a thing that I always want to talk about it, which is why the underground churches in China is always under the pressure from the government. and is always under the risk of prosecution. And I saw what Joe did for his community. And then I was like, now I think I have a more clear answer in my head, which is Joe take care of homeless people, and Joe take care of his community. And imagine if you do it in China, then you are shaking the authority of the Chinese government, which is a dictatorship government, and it's going to be a threat for that regime. So when my American friend asked me, "Hey, like, what is China?" I'll be like, China is not like only communism or socialism. Like you cannot just describe it with such simple term, because any society is complex, right? No matter which country is complex. So if we have to use a very simple word, that is authoritarian, right? Authoritarianism. So in that kind of society, like why churches is a threat. I mean, independent church, or you can call it underground church. Why is it a threat? Is because when church brothers and sisters go to serve the community, go to help their neighbors, it actually form a real community or society. You can call it citizen society or this or that, but it actually form a real society. So the society will have power. So when a society have power, a powerful society or a powerful community, that is the enemy of a dictatorship regime, or you call it authoritarian regime. It's going to be a threat. So that is the real reason that why if your church is not, they call it three self church in China. If it's not three self church, which is the church obeyed the government, and there are also government people in that kind of church, and they have control over like what do you preach in the church and what do you do in the church. If you're not a member of that church, then if you only accept Jesus is the only leader of your church, then you are a threat, unfortunately. But as we all know, what Joe did, or any church brother and sister is doing, like if you're serving the community, it's not a threat to the community at all, right? But in China, it's going to be a threat to the Chinese government. And if you ask me, like, hey, as Chinese, like, what do you care about? I mean, I don't see myself as a Chinese first, right? I see myself as a disciple first. And what do I really care about is I care about what Jesus taught me to do. That is the most important thing in my life. Like what Mark told me before, like our last video was me and Mark was fishing in the Can Lake, I remember. He told me one thing like over 5 years ago. He said, no matter what you do, no matter what you want to say, before you do it or say it, think about what Jesus is going to do or say in this situation. And that's what I care about the most. Because when I look back to my journey, right, I mean, being a disciple or being a Christian, like you don't have to acting like a Bible nerd. No, because faith without act is dead, right? Like if you live in that way, you will see the fruit. So for example, I see the fruit in my life. I told Joe, I said, Joe, last time we see each other is probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And I believe you can see the change on me. I was young and kind of sad, and also, just kind of bored in the national park. And always is, being kind of negative. But I said, this time you can see some change on me. Like I'm more outgoing, and I'm also trying to do comedy now because I think comedy will bring people together, right? Um, that is the fruit. That is the fruit of the Holy Spirit, and also the fruit of um, my church brothers, my church sisters. Like what they, did on me was amazing. So it changed my life. Um, there are something that I cannot really agree with. So for example, when we talk about, oh, we need to spread the gospel, and there are churches and brother and sisters, they hold a sign on the side of the road. I'm not saying like I'm right. I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. It just I personally don't think that way is efficiency. Uh, so what I usually do is I would be like, hey, what I can do for you in your life. Um, if I can help, hey, let me help. Don't feel you're taking something from me. Don't feel bad. Like we all need help in our life sometime. And then sometimes people ask me, hey, why are you doing this, right? Uh, why don't you put yourself on the first position, and you're doing something helping other people? But to me, is at first myself is never on the first position. To me is, hey, what Jesus taught me is the first position, right? And then if Jesus tell me to serve my neighbor, and that is the thing that I need to do. After that, it's myself. Like, yeah, I may want a Diet Coke, so I go buy a Diet Coke. So my own need is definitely not at the first position. Yeah, so I am making this video, like, at first it's for uh, our YouTube channel, you know, Icebreaker Gospel Tea House, and I'm also planning to upload 2 or 3 other episodes very soon, because I spoke with Joe's church brother. His name is Greg. He's much older than me, and uh, he's a very funny person, and he shared something about his life with me, which is very new, very unique experience. So I told him before I left Hawaii, I said, hey, Greg, I'm gonna text Joe when I have time, and if you have a computer, we can set up a appointment where time that we can make a podcast. We can make an episode and talk about something. And I told him, I said, hey, I believe you have lots of things can share with people, and it's gonna be very inspiring. And he said, cool, yeah, we can do that. So yeah, it's amazing. And secondly is, I just really think what I saw in Kona, what Joe did, and also his church community, that was amazing. It's very inspiring, and I do think that is very valuable experience to share with everybody who is listening to our podcast. And the third thing is, I do want to encourage everyone who is sitting in front of your phone or screen. It's almost Thanksgiving now, and you probably will see some neighbors or friend who need help at this moment, who is financially not doing very well. I have friend text me for help, and if your neighbor or your friend don't text you or don't ask you, I mean, we can ask them, right? Hey, do you need help? Like, if you need help, let me know. I can help you within my limit, right? Yeah, I truly encourage everyone who is watching this video, go talk with your neighbor and friend to see if they need any help. because something that we have, we may want to use it for a long time, and sometimes they may need it, and sometimes your neighbor or your friend just needs somebody to talk with, right? They just need a listener. And sometimes you listen to them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it can make their day. Because I used to be a person like that. I need somebody to listen to me, right? It changed my life and made my day. And the fourth thing is about the part I talk about China, since I went to Kohala Church, and Yumi asked me about China, and Joe asked me about China, and another Joe asked me about China, and Auntie Melly also asked about China. Oh, her name is Auntie Melly, the elder lady. I said she practiced traditional Asian medicine method to release the pain on your body. She asked me about China. So the fourth reason I'm making this video is answer their question in a very simple way. But anyway, I will have some off time. I will have some off time in the next 1 or 2 weeks, so I will upload more episodes. But same thing, subscribe and send us email if you have any questions. If you're looking for a church, leave a comment or send email to icebreakergospelteahouse at gmail.com. Let us know. If you're in Phoenix or you're not in Phoenix, it's okay, because our church have sister church all around the U.S. and all around the world. Let us know. And if I don't know if we have church in your city, I can ask my pastor or the minister in our church and see what information we can provide. I have the confidence that we can definitely find a church near you. So just feel free to let us know, or if you have some topic you're interested in about China or Taiwan or Asia, or about Asian culture, feel free to let us know. And we really appreciate your opinion and your ideas. That's going to be very helpful for our podcast and also for our job to spreading gospel. But anyway, God bless, and you have a wonderful day or night. All right. See you next time. Bye bye.